One.
Hey y'all, we're back. All right, so last time we talked about copyright and what copyright means. Copyright is the basis of citation and why we actually cite our sources. So let's keep going a little bit here. So to make sure that we aren't caught breaking copyright law, we're going to learn how to cite our sources. Many of us have been citing our sources in the past, but as we move up in grade level and proficiency, it gets a little bit harder. Okay, so the reason that we cite our sources is this. When we take someone else's work or ideas and pretend that they're our own, that's called plagiarism. Okay, so anytime that we steal an idea from someone or the exact words out of a book, an article, or something like that, and put it into our own papers, pretending it's our own or maybe ignoring the fact that it's not our own, that's called plagiarism. And that's not okay. In fact, plagiarism is breaking copyright law because plagiarism is exactly what I just said. It's stealing. And stealing, as we know, anybody else's ideas or words is breaking that copyright law. So in order to A, not plagiarize, and B, not break copyright law, which we already know is bad news bears, we're going to do something called citation. Okay, a citation is a reference to a source. When we refer to a source, we're saying, hey, teacher, here's where we got my information. This great idea in my paper, some of it's mine, but some of it I actually got from this book here. Hey, that great sentence in my paper, the one in the quotation marks, those aren't my words. It actually came from this article I found on a website. Okay, so when we cite our sources, we're telling our teacher or the reader that's reading our paper where we got our information from. Citing sources doesn't mean that you're saying you aren't brilliant in your own right. All you're saying is, hey, if you want to read more information, here's where I got my information from. You're actually backing up and making yourself more credible. So we want to make sure that we are citing our sources. Now, if you're a little confused of what a source means, a source is any place you found information. That's a book, an encyclopedia, website, dictionary, a photo even, perhaps a song. Any sort of information that you use to put inside of your research paper, article, book, anything like that, that's a source and needs to be cited at the bottom of your page. The purpose of a citation is to give credit to the person you borrowed those information from. Okay, so we want to give credit to the people that did the legwork. Okay, when you really work hard at something, you want credit for that. If someone were to take that idea and take that hard work from you without giving you credit, it wouldn't feel very nice. Okay, so we want to make sure to give credit to the authors and the researchers and the scientists and mathematicians that we are getting these ideas from. The second reason that we cite is to let your reader have more information about your opinion. We want to make sure that the reader and your teacher gets a chance to make sure you're using those quotes and those pieces of information correctly. Okay, so that's the reason for citation. Let's take a look at a few. Oh, Miss Whitaker, you went a little too far. Let's back up. Let's take a look at a few citations. Let's see what they look like. Okay, here's what citations look like. Don't panic if you're starting to see that citations are pretty complicated sometimes. The first one you'll see is a book. You'll see that we just went with Mo Willems because I love him. There's always an author, a title, a place of publication, the publisher, and the date. Okay, going down, you'll see a website, an online database, and an article from a printed source like a magazine or a journal. Okay, these are different types of sources that you might come across in research, and this is how you would cite them. Okay, don't panic, I won't leave you alone with just this, but these are examples of citations. Okay, let's take a look at some of the things that you might need. Okay, the first thing that you might always need in a citation is the author. Okay, you're always going to look for the author in a citation. When you find the author and you're going to put it in your citation, you'll put it last name, comma, first name. That way, when you build your bibliography, you will put them in alphabetical order, last name first. Okay, so my dear friend Mo Willems here will always find himself at the bottom of the bibliography. So would Miss Whitaker. So when I write my first children's book, put me at the bottom of the bibliography, okay? The next thing you're going to look for is title, okay? The title will always be in italics or underlined. So if you're in a program like Amaze that I'm using right now, Amaze will not underline things for me, but it will put things in italics. So your title will always be in italics or underlined, okay? One thing that you'll notice about titles are some things have two titles, like articles on a database. Okay, the title of the database will be included, but also the title of the article that you're using. So if I'm looking up Jaguars in Britannica Online, I want to make sure that I include Jaguars in parentheses and Britannica Online because that's the title of the database. So make sure that you think that through. The last thing I want to include is the publishing information. That's things like the company that helped to create the photo or the video, okay? These things are like Hyperion Books for Children and 2007. You have a couple of clues that I will give you in just a moment about how to find this information. So these are the 4 or 5 big things that you really need to look for with citation. Now, a couple tips. If you can't find this information and you've looked as hard as you possibly can, don't panic. You're allowed to just skip it. Now, you can't just skip it if you haven't looked for it. All right? If you just think finding the publishing date is too hard and you never want to put it on there, it's not allowed. I promise. Okay? Your job is to always include information that is on the book, article, or database. Right? If I can find it, you can find it. So make sure that you look very carefully. All right? On to the next. Here are a couple examples. Harry Potter. Woohoo! All right? Here are a couple places that you can find this information. We all know where title's found, and we all know where we can find authors. So I'm not going to leave you with many tips on how to find those. All right? But finding publisher and publishing date can be a little more daunting. Okay, so to find the publisher and the publishing date, you can flip to a page I like to call the TP Verso. We all know where the title page is. It's one of the first pages of your book that has the title printed again as well as the author printed again. If you flip that page over, you'll find a page with very, very little print. This page is called the TP Verso. It's called that because it's the title page reversed. Okay, TP Verso. This page has all the information you could possibly need. It's got the publisher, it's got the publishing date. And here are a few tips that you can find to find these things. Okay, if you look for little things like the copyright C, that will give you a great tip to find the publishing date. It's a tiny little C with a circle around it. That's our copyright C, and that can help you find the publishing date. The other thing to find publisher are keywords like publisher, house, books. Any of these keywords can clue you into where the publisher is. All right? So those are 2 tips to find publisher and publishing date. Look for the copyright C, and then look for keywords like house, books, publisher, things like that. My friends, you guys are doing so well. One last thing. When you're looking at a website, the title of the article will always be in bold print. Use those text features I know you guys have been working on. All right? Looking for the bold print that you can see right here. And the publishing date for a website will always be down at the very, very bottom of the website. So scroll, 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 okay? Use those 2 fingers on the Chromebook, scroll all the way down, and you can find the publisher and copyright date pretty easily. This works for databases as well. Scroll all the way down, find publisher and publishing date, just like that. My friends, you have done fantastically. I'm very, very proud of you. If you have any questions about citations, finding titles, authors, publishers, dates, come right at me. Included with this lovely video is a click sheet and is a really awesome little page to help you find your citation manual. Let me know if you have questions, all right? Enjoy your citing. Bye.